Okay, well, tell people out there the plot and tone of the film you worked on Without Blood.
Um, Without Blood is based on a book by Alessandro Barrico, an Italian writer, and it's it's essentially a very violent act that makes up the first, I'd say, 20 minutes of the film and the first quarter of the book as well. It's a very short book. And two key players in that in that scene then meet a few decades later and sit opposite a table in a cafe and talk about it. And it's a conversation about trauma and about the psychology of war and of conflict and violence and yeah, all the facets that have to do with that, I suppose.
Right. That's the plot. And what about like the tone, the vibe of the movie? How do you describe that for people out there?
Um, it's it shifts. It's not a singular uh view, I would say. It you as a viewer, you're constantly being shown a different angle into a different view on the story and from the perspective of one or the other or even some additional characters that are part of the events. So you're always kind of made to question what is being talked about, and um, it's it's a long conversation, and it's very dialogue driven. So they use flashbacks a lot to kind of illustrate what they're talking about. But yeah, it's definitely thought-provoking in a lot of ways.
Oh yes. So speaking of vibe and tone, please tell people the style of your score for this film.
So what I wanted to do after I spoke with Angelina was to kind of create a duality in the music because it's about these two characters. There's a lot of kind of opposites in the story as well. There's kind of there's a lot of warmth between them, but there's also this violence that happened, and there's the hope of one of the characters that went into the war and was kind of convinced of his ideas and he saw it as a positive thing. He was fighting for something he believed in. Where later it turned out that they may have been wrong, or also that view changed. And they the point of view changes with that. And so I wanted to create a duality in the music as well. And I did that by creating or by recording a lot of solo instruments and making them really visceral and kind of harsh. And then juxtaposing that with a string ensemble that was more soothing, warmer, more pleasant, and then creating, as it were, a bit of a depth of field with that. So I would place the visceral solo instruments really up front, and then the having the ensemble a bit further in the back, and then playing with that. I would turn it around sometimes so that you would never really know which part would be in the foreground, which would be in the background, and to kind of follow what happened in the conversation between those two people.
Very interesting. So you mentioned the director Angelina. It's Angelina Jolie for people who don't know. So
Yeah.
could you shed some insight what she's like as a collaborator?
She has a very impressive eye for her character's inner world, for the emotionality of the story, of the complexity of this book as well.
Hmm.
So um, it was definitely challenging because there are so many nuances to what's happening between those two people, and she was so invested in the complexity of that it took quite a bit of effort to find the right tone for each scene and for each piece of music. But as you know, once we were there and once we had created all of these sounds and by the way, a lot of these sounds are so almost avant-garde that I don't think another director may have gone for it. But because she was so um, interested in exploring all those little details or the three-dimensional side of this story, um, I was able to use sounds that, otherwise I m might not have been able to use because they were just too strange or too harsh or
Mhm.
so once we had those sounds, it almost became like painting in a way because I could use all these little elements of improvised recording and just start building my little musical pieces with it. So um, yeah, it was a long search together for the right tone of the music, but I think once we found it, it was a yeah, it was a lot of fun to make it work.
Lovely. And the lead is Salma Hayek. So, and I'm sure you watched her performance for hours on end, making
Absolutely.
this movie. So, what can you say about Salma Hayek's performance with your insight?
Oh, she has these wonderful little like I would almost say like micro movements or like little shifts in her appearance that were especially when you've seen it many times, then you start to notice these more and more. And I was always trying to find little ways, even though the music moves very slowly. There's never like very fast-paced action stuff in there, but I would always find these little ways of kind of accenting or highlighting those little things that she did, and that was actually a lot of fun. Yeah,
Wow, amazing. And how many times do you figure you've seen this film?
that's always hard to say, but I
Right.
would
I know it's
definitely
like chunks that
hundreds
you're
of
focusing
times.
on more, but like just for people out there, you know.
Sorry, you dropped out for a bit there. Sorry.
Said I've asked this question to composers before. They always tell me that they're focused on certain chunks more than watching the movie over and over again. But just for people out there, how many hours do you think you've seen with that
There
one?
would be hundreds of hours, I'm sure. Yeah, and
Okay.
you're right. It's you tend to focus a lot on the parts that you're actually scoring, of course, and there's only so many times where you watch the whole thing in sequence. So at the premiere, it was a while since I had seen it in its entirety. So yeah, that was a fun experience as well. It's
Yeah. Do you
you
enjoy
get to
yourself at
focus
TIFF?
on these bits. Go ahead.
Sorry, did you enjoy yourself at TIFF?
It was great. We had a wonderful premiere. It was in one of the smaller rooms as opposed to a lot of the other films that premiered there. But
Mm.
that kind of made it intimate and it fits the setup of the film as well, it being so small and so almost claustrophobic in a way. So it was my first time at TIFF. I've been to Toronto before, but it was the
Wow.
first time for the festival, and yeah, it's a great, very accessible festival, I'd say.
Yes, that's a big thing that's stressed there. It is accessible. So, who's your Mount Rushmore of film composers? All-time favorites.
All-time favorites.
Yeah, you
That's
can do
hard.
four.
I can do four. Okay, okay. Um, well, I think the first person I would definitely have to mention is an old studio buddy of mine from Berlin.
Oh,
I used to share a studio with Hildur Gudnadottir, who also she scored Joker and Chernobyl, and
oh wow.
she just did the second part of Joker. It's I don't the people I look up to tend to be people that I also have been in contact with in some way because
Yeah.
it allows me to see their work more up close. And yeah, she's a phenomenal composer.
Okay.
Um, Other people, Volker Bertelmann,
Oh yeah, he's great.
I love his work.
Yeah.
Johnny Greenwood is amazing.
Mm. Hmm.
And on a slightly more traditional
Mm.
path, I would say Nicholas Britell is very impressive.
Oh yeah.
I love his melodies, and he has this fantastic way of combining very simple structure or a very simple melody with the most intricate arrangements, and it's yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Oh, those are really good picks. I like it
Thank you.
because you can only hear Ennio Morricone, John Williams so many
Well,
times.
obviously, yeah,
Yeah, right.
absolutely,
It's nice,
but
more tailored, more contemporary. I like it. I like it.
yeah, sure, yeah.
And and so I know some of those people have CDs and vinyl. Do you have
Mhm.
any vinyl out there that people could scoop up or can in the future?
Yeah, I work on like I try to divide my time between creating solo material and scoring film and TV
Yeah,
because you know you've probably heard this before, but it's you have a lot more freedom when you create your own work. You can do whatever you want, and that's essentially when you score a film, you end up working for somebody else and enhancing their vision. And you try to work in your own ideas there, of course, but it's always still a collaboration. So yeah, I have a solo record from about 3 years ago that we released on vinyl, and I'm in the process of finishing a new one that's going to come out early next year. So yeah, that's something that's coming up. Definitely, I'm very excited about.
very cool. But is there any chance Without Blood could get a vinyl release?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
We're in the process of finishing the soundtrack album for that. I think I don't know yet when the film is gonna come out commercially. So once that does, I'm sure we'll also have some sort of a soundtrack release for that. Yeah,
Very exciting. Rutger, thank you so much for your time today. It was a real pleasure. Is there
my
anything else
pleasure.
you would like to say about this film and the talented lead lady as well as director?
Um, what I would like to say is it's it might not be a film for everybody,
Hmm.
but I mean that in a good way. Not that I don't think it's a good film. I think it's actually a very good film. It's a very complex, very heavy story, and it's the kind of film and also the kind of book, to be honest, that you need to allow a little bit of time. It needs to sit with you a little bit. And I hope people will find a bit of patience when they watch this, so they can actually process what it's about. And because especially in these times, I think it's an important story that's being told. And yeah, I hope people go see it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.